Hello and welcome to the session titled Sparking Connections and Engaging Students Online. This session is presented by Jennifer, Monique, and Rachelle from the Learning Design team at St. Leo University. The session will be broken into three different sections. In the first part, you'll learn about several types of discussions that will be sure to spark your students' interest. You'll learn how to utilize discussions to engage your students in peer review, pair debate, applications and concepts, and reporting and summarizing research. In the second part of this session, you will learn about social learning theory and how it relates to peer discussions, especially in asynchronous online courses. You'll learn how to use discussions to connect your content to real-world situations and use group discussion board tools to differentiate learning in your course. The third part of this session focuses on instructor-to-student interactions. We'll explore how exchanges make your students feel. You'll learn how to give effective feedback. You will explore how teacher feedback behavior significantly predicts course satisfaction. In addition, various features and strategies you can use for feedback will be adapted to different learners, and we will explore different ways to do that. The session will close with the research behind the different feedback methods and how they directly impact your students' interaction, feelings, and grades.
Hello, my name is Jen Turkovich, and I will be talking about ways to spark connections by engaging students with asynchronous discussions. Ask yourself, are you stuck in a discussion rut? Online discussions can tap into all types of conversations. Providing students with a variety of discussion types will engage your students and allow you to assess different communication skills. Communication can take many forms. The four major types of conversations are discourse, dialogue, debate, and diatribe. Consider these types when designing asynchronous discussions. Discourse refers to conversations where individuals deliver information to one another in a cooperative environment. For instance, learners sharing research findings with one another. Dialogue is collaborative and competitive with the purpose of delivering information. For example, a group discussion where learners are working together to respond to a discussion prompt. Debates are collaborative and competitive, with the purpose of arguing or convincing others. For example, learners may select or be assigned to a pro or con stance and attempt to convince others of their stance. Diatribes refer to individuals expressing emotions or trying to coerce others in a competitive style. This may come in the form of a discussion where learners are asked to share their personal experiences to inspire others in class. A research and report discussion engages learners in discourse that focuses on evaluation of research. The research and report method is a common approach in our courses. Students engage in research outside of their reading assignments to share information and expand the conversation on the topic. In this example, learners need to find a research article on employee incentive programs, evaluate the program from that article, and share this information with their classmates. Another popular method is engaging in discourse through application. In this case, the discussion is a method of assessing ability to apply the concepts that they have learned. For example, in this case, students are seeking supervisor input at work. Application allows the students to utilize what they have learned in hypothetical but realistic situations. Students provide feedback, and the exercise gives students the opportunity to practice using what they've learned and will most likely be used in the future in work situations. Peer review is a great way to start a dialogue. Students can review each other's writing, presentations, and other artifacts. This example focuses on peer review of a diet teaching presentation for a nursing course. Other examples include peer review and critique of one another's resumes, cover letters, and portfolios. Learners will be getting valuable feedback not only from their instructor, but from their peers. And learners will benefit from providing constructive feedback to others, something they may have to do in their careers. You can engage your learners in debate. Consider assigning students to either a pro or con stance, especially for controversial topics. This will result in at least some of the students engaging in debate outside of their comfort zone. This particular example delves into the debate about requiring a parenting license. Students are assigned pairs, which focuses their responses to their assigned partner, and the result resembles a synchronous debate session. In the spirit of diatribe, having students share their opinions in a constructive manner is a great way to start a module or topic. In this discussion, students are asked their opinion regarding parental training prior to beginning the course content. Students can then revisit their post and see how their opinion may or may not have changed after learning more. Reflection is such an important piece to learning. You can set up individual discussion forums by sending up single student groups. In this case, students are encouraged to reflect on an emotional response in their lives. Keeping this a private discussion, in addition to providing a safe learning environment, will help the students feel more comfortable with this type of exercise. The discussion forum allows for an informal one-on-one environment, in comparison to submitting a paper through an assignment folder. My colleagues will be discussing the topic of community building as well, but you can use discussions to engage learners in a dialogue with each other and with the instructor. Use discussion to build community with your learners, to find out about who each other are, and as a way for the students to ask questions. An equivalent to, in a synchronous course or a classroom course, a student raising their hand to ask a question. Have learners select assignment topics using a discussion board. If you allow the other students to see posts right away, you can avoid having students choose duplicate topics. So this is great for a situation where you have an assignment where there are a limited number of topics and it's a first come, first served basis. Now that we've considered different approaches to asynchronous discussion, how can we encourage participation in those discussions? So let's consider D2L features. Using graded discussions is an obvious choice. In addition to requiring a minimum number of substantive responses to classmates. In addition, you can have students rate posts. There is a 5-star rating scheme, upvotes and downvotes, or an upvote only scheme. Choose the one that's best for your situation and for your learners. You can also award students in discussions using badges. When using badges, be sure to tie them to performance in order to give meaning and value to the badges. Consider badges like excellent community contributor or excellent interpersonal communication as options. You can also tag participants in the discussion. If your institution doesn't use the tagging option in D2L, you can also encourage your instructors and facilitators to respond to students using their name. Using learner names is a simple and effective way to build community. Now that we've covered the possibilities using asynchronous discussion, consider the following questions. How would you engage your learners with asynchronous discussions? Which communication style and purpose would benefit your learners the most? What communication skills would you assess in your asynchronous discussions? How would you encourage participation? Thank you.
Welcome to the portion of our presentation on social learning in higher education. Hi, I am Monique Liles, a learning designer with St. Leo University, and I will be conducting the portion of this presentation talking about the importance of social learning in higher education. Social learning is important in higher education because it enhances critical thinking, improves problem-solving skills, and stimulates a deeper understanding of the subject matter. During this presentation, I will present a brief overview of what social learning is, some of the major theories and frameworks that support it, and the characteristics and benefits of social learning in higher education environments. During this part of the presentation, we will discuss social learning, collaboration, technology to support social learning, and how to foster a social learning environment. What is social learning? Social learning refers to learning that occurs through interactions with others, where knowledge and skills are acquired through imitation, observation, and collaboration. Social learning is often associated with K-12 learners, but is also very important in higher education, as it enhances critical thinking, promotes problem-solving skills, and stimulates a deeper understanding of the subject matter. Although pedagogical principles differ slightly from andragogical ones, social learning benefits humans, social creatures, throughout our lives. Two major learning theories and frameworks that support social learning are Vygotsky's zone of proximal development and Bandura's social learning theory. These theories emphasize the role of social interactions and collaborative experiences in the learning process and the construction of knowledge from interactions with others and with the environment. Social learning is very important in higher education, especially as we seek to integrate real-world knowledge and application competencies into instruction and are teaching students in an online environment more and more. Online students in particular need engaging social experiences with their colleagues and classmates and to feel connected to the university or college more than ever before, to find meaning in their learning experiences. Collaboration and social learning. Collaboration is an important element in social learning. Collaborative activities enable students to actively engage with their peers, exchange ideas, learn from each other, and construct knowledge together. Advantages of collaborative learning in higher education include enhanced critical thinking and problem-solving skills, increased engagement and motivation, promotion of effective communication and teamwork abilities. Examples of collaborative learning approaches and strategies include group projects and assignments, peer mentoring, tutoring, and collaborative note-taking. Interactive discussions and debates, group research presentations, and Merrill's principles of instruction and task analysis is a good example of a process that makes use of collaboration and social learning theory. Technology and social learning. Technology has had a profound impact on social learning in higher education. Digital tools and platforms have expanded opportunities for collaboration and communication among students, transcending geographical boundaries. Leveraging digital tools for collaborative learning makes social learning even easier for students today than ever before. Online platforms for virtual collaboration, e.g. Google Docs, Slack, Zoom, social media and discussion forums, learning management systems, and e-learning platforms all make it much easier than it ever has been. Online class and meeting tools like Microsoft Teams and Zoom enable students to engage regardless of their distance from each other. These tools include meeting spaces, breakout rooms, whiteboards, and many features that mimic the physical classroom environment. These tools also make community learning easy as students can engage from many points within the community, making the world part of their classroom environment. In addition to the benefits of using digital tools to foster social and collaborative learning, such as increased accessibility and flexibility, there are potential challenges like the need for digital literacy skills, internet connectivity issues, and the importance of balancing technology with face-to-face interactions. Some students struggle to feel connected in online environments, while others thrive in them. It is important to assess the needs of all students and create a comfortable learning environment for all. One way to do this is in hybrid classes with some students online and others in a physical classroom, and to have roles for the students such as chat and technology monitors to ensure the online students are participating fully, and also ensuring there are quality microphones in the physical classroom to ensure that online students are able to hear all of the activities and discussions occurring in the physical classroom. Pairing online students with other students for group activities is also important so that no one is left out. Fostering social learning environments. Strategies for creating a conducive and safe learning environment for students, social learning, and collaboration involves the following. Establishing a culture of inclusivity and respect by setting rules and boundaries, requiring respect and including students in the creation of the rules for classroom interactions. Encouraging active participation and engagement, providing tools and structures to ensure this happens effectively. designing flexible and adaptable learning spaces, and managing the learning environment to ensure that the spaces are suitable for social learning and collaboration. The role of instructors in educational institutions in promoting social learning is critical. It is important for instructors to create opportunities for collaboration, provide guidance and support for students, and integrate social learning approaches into the curriculum. Creativity is required, but with practice, creating social learning opportunities, starting with scaffolding and student support, will make these activities easier over time for both you and your students. An example of social learning in higher education is the use of a problem-solving case study. Students can work in a group with different roles and approaches to problem solving and come together to solve one single problem from a variety of perspectives. The instructor facilitates a discussion, and as the students solve the problem, the instructor elaborates on findings or provides hints, clues, and important considerations. The students collaborate on a case study report, and then the class debriefs on the case study process, results, and findings. As we have discussed, social learning activities are supported by educational research, are important in higher education, and can be implemented in online, hybrid, and face-to-face courses. Social learning and collaboration are critical aspects of the learning process for learners of all ages, and facilitate the construction of knowledge and connections between curriculum and real-world activities. The more you implement these activities with your students, the easier it will be. These activities bring a life to your curriculum that can be very engaging. Some creative ways to engage students in collaborative learning projects is to have students work on a group case study, create a collaborative project that benefits the community, or create a group presentation or project for the class. An example of a collaborative project in a community history course is one in which students create a walking tour around a historical incident or issue being discussed to create a class project on something that can be used by the community and tourists that are visiting the area. In a social work course, students could collaborate to create a presentation for the community on an important social or health issue. For example, creating a presentation to deliver to mothers in the community on infant and toddler nutrition would be a good one for nutritionists or social workers or nursing students. Business students can collaborate to work on a business clinic to provide information to local businesses and small entrepreneurs and business owners. I encourage all of you to implement at least one social learning project with your students. Remember, it is okay to start small, practice makes perfect, and building in supports for student success is critical. If something doesn't work, it's okay to try something different. Often the most important lessons come from mistakes. The more you implement social learning activities with your students, the easier it will be for everyone involved. And your students will enjoy engaging in these types of activities, which bring a richness to your curriculum that can be profound.
Hello, I am Rachelle Babcock, and in this portion of the session, I will be discussing how we can enhance instructor-to-student interactions. I will delve into the power of effective feedback and its impact on student experiences and outcomes. We'll also explore how these exchanges make your students feel and why feedback is a crucial component of successful teaching. Let's first review our objectives for this section. Our first objective, understand the importance of effective feedback in instructor-to-student interactions. Next, learn about regulative and emotional feedback and their significance in providing comprehensive feedback. Third, explore a two-way feedback tool for fostering open and transparent discussions between teacher and learners. Next, recognize how teacher feedback behavior significantly predicts course satisfaction. Discover various features and strategies to adapt feedback to different learners. And lastly, we will discuss understanding the research behind these different feedback methods and their direct impact on our student interactions, feelings, and grades. First, let's discuss the importance of effective feedback. Feedback plays a pivotal role in supporting students' growth and learning. It also helps students understand their strengths and areas for improvement. Giving effective feedback promotes motivation, engagement, and creates a positive learning environment for our students. It also enhances instructor-to-student interactions and fosters trust and communication in our course. Now let's talk about What is regulative and emotional feedback? Regulative feedback focuses on task-oriented guidance and highlights expectations and performance standards. Emotional feedback acknowledges a student's emotions, provides encouragement, and supports their well-being. Combining the two, both regulative and emotional feedback, leads to a more comprehensive and impactful feedback overall. So we talked about what is regulative feedback and what is emotional feedback. Now let's talk about how regulative feedback can set expectations and allow our students to perform better within our course. So regulative feedback emphasizes clarity and is specific. It sets clear expectations for our assignments, our assessments, and also our classroom behavior. Also provides feedback that helps students understand how their work aligns with the given criteria. So think checklists and rubrics. Regulative feedback highlights areas for improvement and also makes suggestions on specific actions the students can take for growth within our course. Now let's dig a little deeper into emotional feedback and how it supports our students' well-being and motivates them in our classroom. So important when we are teaching online in our D2L format in Brightspace. We want to make sure we're having an emotional connection with our students, which can be difficult. But we want to make sure that we are motivating them and making sure that they feel comfortable within our online format. Emotional feedback recognizes that students have emotions and validates their experiences. So we need to make sure that we are incorporating that into our feedback online, whether it be with audio or video, to show our faces, or even with certain wording with our written format. We want to show empathy and understanding in our feedback and offer words of encouragement to support them and boost their motivation to continue to work towards their goals. We also want to celebrate their achievements and milestones and really foster a positive learning environment in our courses. So what are some strategies for effective feedback? How are we going to adapt that in the classroom? So first, we want to make sure that we're always recognizing the diversity within our classroom, the diverse needs, and also the various learning styles that our students have. So this may mean when you're giving feedback, as well as having the students respond with various feedback, having them do that in various ways and adapting that to our various learning styles in the classroom. We want to tailor the feedback to accommodate different perspectives, different preferences, and different abilities. We will also want to use a variety of different formats. Again, we talked about doing written, oral, multimedia, having them also practice what they're doing. We want to make sure that we're always meeting the needs of all the learners in our classroom. So some examples of feedback strategies. We're going to provide written feedback. We're going to make sure that our feedback is very clear. We want to be very specific when we're in our courses, especially in our online courses. We want to provide visual aids for our visual learners. We also, for that, as auditory learners, we want to provide an audio, video, make sure we have our transcripts and our closed captionings within that. And we want to utilize our rubrics. We want our rubrics to be very specific. We want to set our goals and align them with our assignments and have that out there for our students to be able to view. Checklists are also a great way to provide structure and feedback for our students. We also want to incorporate some self-assessments and that peer feedback opportunity. This adds to active engagement in the classroom. Teacher feedback, behavior, and course satisfaction. So teacher feedback behavior significantly influences a student's satisfaction with the course. The quality, the timeliness, and how specific you are in your feedback is essential. Feedback that focuses on your growth, highlights your progress, and provides constructive suggestions leads to an improved course satisfaction, and in turn also leads to higher grades within the class. Now that we've talked about effective ways to communicate and give feedback to your students, let's talk about some tools in Desire to Learn that can be used. Desire to Learn provides several tools that instructors can use to give effective feedback to students. Here are some of the commonly used tools within D2L. 1. Annotation and comments. So D2L offers annotation tools that allow instructors to provide specific feedback directly on students' assignments or documents. You can highlight areas, add comments, or draw attention to specific sections. This tool is particularly useful for written assignments, PDFs, or even image submissions. Second, rubrics. D2L has built-in rubric tools. They enable instructors to create customized evaluating criteria for each assignment. By using a rubric, you can provide a structured feedback, assign grades, and offer specific comments for each criteria. Rubrics help students understand their strengths and areas of improvement in a transparent and consistent manner. Also know that when you're using rubrics within there, you can add, in addition to the rubric, audio feedback for the students. Discussions and forums. So D2L discussion boards and forums are great platforms for providing feedback on students' contributions, such as class participation, group work, or even peer-reviewed assignments. Instructors can provide feedback directly within the discussion thread or use private messages for more individual feedback. So your grades and feedback. D2L's gradebook allows instructors to assign grades and provide feedback for various assessments. You can leave comments alongside the grade, highlighted strengths, and areas of improvement for the student. This consolidates the feedback and helps the student track their progress throughout the course. In addition, you could use video and audio feedback. D2L has many options within there for the instructor to provide video and audio feedback to the student. This approach can be particularly effective in providing personalized and detailed feedback, especially for assignments that require verbal explanations or a demonstration. Lastly, providing virtual office hours and email. While not specific to D2L, virtual office hours and email communication can be utilized to provide one-on-one feedback. You can schedule a virtual meeting or respond to students' inquiries by email or offer personalized feedback and address individual concerns. Remember to explore your specific D2L instance and consult with your college for supported resources to ensure that you're leveraging all of the available tools and features provided for effective feedback to our students. Some additional notes and additional points to discuss. Well, using feedback on students' work is an expectation that they have. Instructors need to understand they need to use various channels to communicate in an asynchronous course. By doing that, they can add social presence and provide students a feeling of belonging, being part of a community, and being seen as an individual. So one thing we want to consider is to use friendly language in our comments. For example, rather than well organized, we might want to say, this provides a clear explanation of your thinking, or I like the way you put this, very clear and easy to follow. Instead of a general comment like more detail needed, phrase feedback as a question. What might have you added to take this idea further? Make use of personal reactions as well as assignment feedback. This experience had to be exciting. I had a similar reaction the first time I ran across this concept. Paralanguage can be added to such comments, so you might want to think of emojis. You also to consider sending maybe a brief email or additional comments on return assignments. This can provide students with information that might be of interest outside of the immediate framework of the course. Maybe a website, information from the library, or even a contact person, or even a title for another class that might be of interest to them. Making suggestions for additional readings is really important. So when we're making feedback and giving comments on completing assignments, we want to make connections with maybe upcoming assignments or even module topics. We want to illustrate the flow of concepts in the course or how skills from a current assignment will be helpful in upcoming work. For example, the ideas you have included here will be useful as you apply concepts in Unit 3. It's important to include statements of course outcomes with units, modules, and assignments, as well as providing them in the syllabus for the course as a whole. For example, you might say the goals for this assignment are to provide you with some practice in, and then complete the connection. Some closing thoughts on this. The suggestions here are just a few strategies that instructors can do to increase social presence in the course. These particular approaches for instructors can be specific to maybe your personal style, your experiences, and sometimes even your course load. In addition to your background and even the experience of the students in your course, the structure and the content of the course, and possibly limitations of your LMS that you're using. But increasing instructor's social presence can add to students' enjoyment of the success in the course and add to the instructor's feelings of connections with their students and course as well. And in turn, if they have a successful course, they are going to have an increased grade and great feedback for the course that you have created. Now let's review some research. Research suggests that feedback methods play a crucial role in influence on our students' interactions, their feelings, and their grades. Various studies have explored different feedback approaches and their direct impact on students' learning outcomes. Here are some key findings. Timely feedback. Timely feedback refers to providing students with prompt and immediate feedback on their performance. Research indicates that timely feedback enhances students' learning and engagement in the course. When students receive feedback soon after completing a task, they can make necessary adjustments, clarify any misunderstandings, and consolidate their understanding. This form of feedback fosters a sense of responsiveness and connection with the material, leading to improved interactions and enhanced learning outcomes. Specific feedback. Specific feedback provides detailed information on students' strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. Studies have shown that specific feedback has a positive impact on student self-efficacy and motivation. By offering concrete suggestions for improvement, specific feedback helps students understand their progress and take targeted actions. It promotes a growth mindset, encourages active engagement, and enhances students' confidence, leading to better interactions with subject matters and ultimately improved grades. Constructive feedback. Constructive feedback focuses on highlighting areas of improvement while maintaining a supportive tone. Research suggests that constructive feedback has a significant impact on students' emotional well-being and motivation. When feedback is framed constructively, it emphasizes on potential of growth and improvement. Students perceive it as valuable and helpful. This type of feedback encourages students to persevere and take risks and engage in deeper learning. It also fosters a positive classroom environment and promotes open communication. This also has positive influences on their feelings and their grades within the classroom. Goal-oriented feedback. Goal-oriented feedback aligns with students' individual learning goals and provides guidance on how to achieve those goals. Research indicates that goal-oriented feedback enhances students' self-regulation and also their self-reflection. When students receive feedback that's directly related to their specific objectives, they can make meaningful connections between the effort and the desired outcome. This type of feedback encourages students to take ownership of their learning and fosters an intrinsic motivation and improves their interactions with the material. Consequently, students are more likely to achieve higher grades. Peer feedback. This involves students providing feedback to their peers' work. Research suggests that peer feedback offers a unique benefit to student interactions, their feelings, and their grades. Peer feedback promotes active learning as it requires students to critically analyze and provide constructive comments on their peers' work. It also is engaging in peer feedback, such as cultivating a sense of community and collaboration among the students, and it enhances their communication and interpersonal skills. It also positively influences their perception of their own work. Consequently, students may experience improved motivation, engagement, and performance, which again, leading to enhanced grades. It's worth noting the effectiveness of feedback methods. It may vary depending on factors such as a student's individual characteristics, the subject matter, and even the content in which the feedback is provided. Therefore, educators should consider tailoring their feedback strategies to meet the specific needs of their students and align with learning objectives of the course. It's important to provide an overview of key research findings on the effectiveness of feedback and discuss how different feedback methods influence students' engagement and self-confidence in academic performance. Some closing remarks. Effective feedback builds trust, motivation, and engagement in instructor-to-student interactions. As we discussed earlier, regulative and emotional feedback complement each other to provide comprehensive support to students. Two-way feedback platforms foster open communication and active student participation. Adapting feedback strategies to diverse learners enhance inclusion and also promote our learning experience. As we went over various research within our presentation, we understand that research is guiding us in understanding the impact of feedback methods on student interactions, their feelings, and also their outcomes and grades. I want to thank you for participating and listening to this session. We hope this session provided valuable insight into the power of effective feedback in instructor-to-student interactions.